Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, all praise due to God, the Lord of the worlds. Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Amin Jaber Ansari. In 2014, I decided to give 10,000 talks for the betterment of mankind under the online alias Mr.Within, under the YouTube channel Mr.Within's Gift. And I've decided to put away this endeavor and to explain to everyone why. So, I've decided to live as a simple Muslim person. And I wanted to not just explain why, but to also apologize. That was the main intent. To apologize to everyone, and above all to God Almighty, if I have diverted people's faith from the direct source that is God. That was not my intention, but it could have happened. After a decade of pursuing an endeavor and wondering why the results were not matching the effort. At first, I thought that it was unfortunate, but I realized it's a fortune. In the sense that my attention was given a permission to go on something else. I want to explain to the viewers why I'm leaving and renouncing the internet and why I'm not giving these talks anymore. One reason is, of course, not to divert people's faith. Your faith should be to your source. You should not worship people. You should not worship the appearances or what appears in this world or dunya. And the reason is because it is a road. To worship the road is to, in some sense, forget why we're on it. And sometimes, we can become so important to ourselves that we forget where we are. I want to share a story. Right now I'm in Dubai. I've lived in Canada most of my life, and the story I want to share was from, a few weeks of moving here. I was at this hotel and in the morning, for some reason, I decided to just drink lemon and water, like lemon water, because there's no sugar in it. I don't think I can call it lemonade, but so this morning I go outside of this hotel. I have this lemon water with me, and I'm someone who wasn't raised around pets and animals, but for the first time in my life, this cat came and started meowing at me, right? And as if it wanted something, this non-stop meow. And this is in Dubai. Dubai is very hot. It's like being in a sauna. And so at first my attention was somewhere else, but I spoke to the cat, and I'm like, I don't have any food. And the cat came meowing, and I'm like, okay, it's thirsty, but all I had was this like lemon water. So there was this can of, there was this can of empty tuna, like this tuna can that was empty. So I pour the lemon water in it, and the cat starts drinking it. And so, it was kind of like a, surreal experience, helping another species. But I suddenly get this realization, a very profound insight that I hadn't gotten in my life so far. And this cat was not like a clean cat. It had mosquitoes around it, And I suddenly get this insight that this cat could have been the smartest cat, could have been the most able cat, could have been the most knowledgeable cat, could have been the most, spiritually aware cat, okay? But because the cat was impure, because the cat was unclean, I did not want to touch the cat. And the metaphor suddenly arose to me of higher, of the beyond, of that which is higher, that which is divine. And so it was as if that cat could have done everything, but because it was impure, I did not want to touch the cat. And so there came this idea that the next chapter of spirituality was not sitting and just meditating, or was not just seeking metaphysical knowledge. The next chapter of spirituality, and I find this to be a message for modern times, is purity. And so this purity for the human being is not just, of course it is to be clean, to be hygienic, but beyond that, it is in some sense, I find, to open the heart. And what I mean by this is that in this decade of giving these talks, and in many of the talks, it can be apparent for the viewers, I constantly speak about how I feel sometimes that my heart is closed. And so one of the achievements, or I should say one of the things that I felt I have attained in some manner, I reached, was how to open the heart. And so the way the insight and the solution came was that when I am more important, and I will use the language of my mind now, when I am more important than the source of creation, than God, the heart closes. But when the source of creation, the cause of creation, is more important than the creation, the heart opens. And I find this to be evident in various dimensions of life, whether it's a person, suddenly becomes a parent, or you see a lot of mothers and fathers, it's like suddenly when they live for their family, when they live for something that is more important than themselves, suddenly their heart is open, suddenly their behavior changes. But when you only live for yourself, for your own desires, in some sense, it leads to a self-destructive outcome. And we're living in a society, in a sort of modernity, where the focus is every person trying to find their own solo perfection. It's as if we are seeking our own paradise, not realizing we're doing it in the world. It's kind of like, being in the lobby of a hotel and wondering why it doesn't look like your hotel room. The next chapter of spirituality is purity. And I realized that by touching the unseen, even though it's very fascinating, there was a sort of impurity there. And so this is kind of like me, letting go of like my child, sacrificing something that is very important to me. But I feel it's necessary. And so I've decided to renounce the internet, renounce the channel, the YouTube channel I've been living for every day, looking at every day. And the reason is that there is something more important than this world. When you look at it, I've always had this mystery of like, okay, where am I? What am I? What is this? And there was this feeling that I didn't create this world. There's this feeling that it's not my work. And so the question of whose work is it? It's a choice between the effect or the cause. And the cause of reality is La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God. There are not many causes, there is only one. And as long as the effects are seeking multiple causes, it's like worlds are lost within each other. So, after experiencing and also having a specific dream, after having that moment where I, gave that cat lemon water, it became evident to me that the next chapter is purity. And that which makes me more important. It's as if, like, if I could say it differently, it would be as if my whole life was a sort of obsession of self, or if the human life is a sort of self-obsession. It's as if being in a world that you did not create and suddenly realizing your own consciousness is not the only point, is not the main point of life. So this leads one to a position where if before they were like, yo, I know this, I know that, I know what's going to happen. I don't know, I know, why that happened, all of this. I've reached a point where I don't know. And it's as if when someone doesn't know, to keep touching, it's like to keep doing something that you don't know, is in some sense it leads to a strange outcome. So I've reached this point where I've truly realized I don't know, because I didn't create this. And I don't need to touch it. So I think that this moment could serve as an example to many people in modern times who hold the attention of many people. Right now we're living at a time where there's people who they talk about God, but everybody is still looking at them. There are many people who claim that they're men and women of God, but the attention of the people who see them is only on them. And so as I guess a sort of final message, and I don't know how the signs of the world, how the world, or what God intends. But I know that your faith needs to be to your direct source and not to anyone. And if throughout these 9 years, this decade, I have diverted your attention from the source, which was not my intention. My intention was to serve mankind. But if that has happened, I apologize. And so, the next chapter of spirituality is purity. So anyways, guys, I'm being warned that my laptop could experience moisture, but this is Dubai Mall. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. I gotta go towards your source. La ilaha illallah.